Hey everyone, here we are again on the Expand Your Influence interviews with our esteemed speakers who are going to be speaking at our event in September 19 and 20, 2020. And I'm so excited for today's interview with Greg Travnicek. Did I say that correct?
Well, there's a reason I go by Greg T, so it's all good.
Greg T it is. So Greg, I know you're going to share your story about how you got started in your business, which is really the theme of what we've been doing in these interviews, as there's so many people out there that want to have a business of their own, and they kind of, not quite sure how to do that. So that's one thing we're going to chat in a little bit about. Yeah. In the meantime, I want to just remind the audience that we will be hosting our event in September, and I have some really exciting news that I'm going to be announcing in the coming days. So please watch for that. And also that at the end of this interview, I'm going to let you know how you can connect with Greg, because I know you're going to want to. Greg, this man has more accolades and more areas of expertise and experience than I think I've ever seen. So, your LinkedIn profile, Greg, reads like a bio of, give me a metaphor. I mean, there's just, a buffet from web design, social media, graphic design, marketing, doing events, from the MC. And I know you're an entertainer, so I really want to hear about that. Your specialties around, designing and entertaining and branding in particular. And of course, people are going to get to know your personality on the call. So let's start with share the bit about how you got started, please.
Absolutely. First off, thank you for having me here. This is awesome. I love doing these. This is great. How did I get started? You know what? I can go back to when I was a kid. Okay, something that there's two things that my one uncle. Now, I looked up to one of my uncles quite a bit when I was younger, and not that I don't now, but and he had said to me, so he was in sales, and I was in a design and graphic and art programs, and I loved painting and drawing and all that kind of stuff. And he came up to me one day and he said, "So, what are you gonna be when you grow up?" And I said, "I think I want to be an artist." And he goes, No, you've got to get into sales. Everything's got to be sold." And I thought for a moment, and I went, "Yeah, but who designs it first?" And, he kind of, sloughed it off and kind of left. And then one of the other sayings he used to say to me, and in fact, several of my uncles and aunts would say, was that it's a cliche one you've already all heard. And that was, find what you love, make it your job, and you never work another day of your life. Mm-hmm. And I went, you know what? I like the sounds of that. So that was what I pursued. I love the art, but I also understood that there was a business side of it. How do I actually take that? And, because of being in art programs that I saw and dealt with a lot of starving artists, if you will. And I said, I don't want to be that, because that doesn't look very fun. Having to struggle through everything. So I took what my uncle had said, pursued the things that I loved, and just kind of kept going there, even to the point of being offered a job coming out of college that was with a rather large ad agency in downtown Toronto, right in the financial district, which would be phenomenal. And I went, that's not what I enjoy doing. I don't love that. So I said no. My prof thought that I was crazy, but I said that's okay. And then as things developed, I moved away from Toronto. I moved to Calgary, and 26 years ago, started my company under the umbrella company I was working with. And it had grown and evolved and changed. I shouldn't say changed. It's modified and fine-tuned all the way through to where we are now. And I'm still having fun.
It sounds like you had some very intuitive mentors early on.
Right. Yeah.
And I love that. And, when my mind goes to the schools and maybe in some families that, for kids, if you will, young adults who don't have those people in their personal lives, mm-hmm. the importance of teachers and mentors like we are, we're a little long in the tooth in the entrepreneurial space, to be mentoring new people coming in and letting them know that their dream is possible. My whole body is lighting up with that story that you followed your heart when you were in Toronto. And but it started with that seed, the family believing in you.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that is so important when you're getting into life and business period. I remember my daughter actually saying to me when she was just finishing high school, she said, I don't want to go to college or university. I don't know what I want to do yet. And I said, well, I respect that. That's fine. I did the same thing. I thought I wanted to get into animation. A year later, I said, no, marketing and advertising. Weird. but yeah, so I just encouraged her. I said, you know what, just get out there. Just get out there and find something. You will find where your passion really, really, really lies as you develop and get going forward. And she was nervous. Are you sure? Are you sure? And I said, yeah. And she actually, there was a daycare right in our neighborhood that was hiring. And she said, I'm going to go apply there. What should I do? I said, get up early in the morning, go early, right? Show them that you're able to get up early. That's a really good thing. Take your resume, be ready for an interview right there on the spot though, because you never know. Right. And she was a little nervous, but she went there, got the interview, got the job like really quickly. And which is really, really cool because, she was all excited in that. But how that's developed now, she's now going into her third year, going into bylaw enforcement. And she wants to get into potentially the animal rescue side of things. And she's working at a home that helps people who are in difficult situations in families right now as a counselor and intake worker. So,
oh my God.
And she's loving it. So it's really neat how that kind of steered her towards where her passion is. Yeah.
Yeah. And think about it. You modeled what your uncle did for you. Was you modeled that for your daughter and said, and gave her those foundational tips, if you will, that a lot of young people don't know about. And they're simple, but they're powerful. So something you said about passion, and I want to ask you, of all the things I mentioned earlier that people will read about when they go to your LinkedIn profile, what would you say of all those is your passion? And are you doing it now? Is it woven into the work you do? How does your passion fit into your business?
I love that question. Sort of. And I'll tell you why sort of, because I get it asked all the time. One of the classic is, okay, so if you could just do one thing, what would you do? And I always say to people, don't do that to me. No. I love everything that I do. And it all fits together for reasons. So you take the entertainment side, right? That is drastically different from the web design side, if you will, from what I do on that level, which I also love. When it comes to speaking to people and helping them with their businesses, huge passion, but again, slightly different than the other two. And they all fit together. It's almost like a complete puzzle. So I'll be in the midst. Actually, a neat story for you. So I remember one day, and this is the first day this ever happened, so it really stands out in my mind. I was working through several websites actually that day. So it was a lot of technical, a lot of coding stuff, and working on these things. And I had to have 3 different phone calls with some clients. Now, not to pigeonhole people, but as an example, one was an engineer, and engineers have a certain way of doing things, which contrasted how I did things. We had some difficulty trying to understand each other. We figured it out by all means, and did that. Then I was having some difficulty with some coding stuff, and that was starting to get to me. And then there's another phone call that I had about something that it was basically a challenge, and that tipped things over the edge for me. I was overwhelmed that day, and it was about 2:00, maybe 1:30, 2:00. And I went, I need to stop today. I am stopping this. And I went shopping to find things for the entertainment side of things. It just took me into that different realm, because that was a recharge for that side, right?
Yeah, and you're really talking about the two sides, if you will, of the brain. And
really,
the importance of fueling both sides.
Oh, entirely. Yeah. You can't deny it. You can't deny all those different aspects of who you are, whatever they may be. Right. And that's, I think, an ever evolving and changing thing in life too. In the midst of what we're in the middle of right now, I've rediscovered doing models and making things for myself. Right. And only for myself. It's not so like I've actually, business has increased in many areas, which is neat. But it started to get overwhelming for a bit. And I said, I need to do something for me. So I sat back and said, what do I want to do? and this is just going to be funny, but I went back to my youth, back and went, I'm going to make a helmet. I'm going to make a Boba Fett helmet, which you see back here.
Is that it on the picture?
This is it. It's this is actually totally live.
My goodness.
And it's all made out of foam, right? So it's a softer thing here.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, and this is something that I find I've been telling a lot of people.
Put it on, Greg.
You want it on?
Give a screenshot.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, here we go.
I love it.
Funny thing is, I did an entire meeting with that on one day.
Yeah. Well, depending on who the client is, they might. I imagine they really appreciate that.
Well, some people find it funny, yeah. But what I've been telling people since, though, right? We're talking about how are things. So everyone's concerned about where everyone's at right now, and as we should be. And I'll be honest, I like the change that's kind of happened, or that seems to be happening, is that we seem more focused with the relationships, deeper relationships. People talking about, well, how can we help people locally more? I'm like, good. People finding out more about each other. So what I'm encouraging people to, when they're getting really busy, is like, in fact, I was talking to an executive director of an organization a couple of weeks ago, and I said, so what do you do for you? And he kind of looked at me and said, what do you mean? I said, what is it you do that's just for you, that maybe nobody else even knows about? Because entrepreneurs, and I'm saying this from experience, tend to take everything that they do and make it into a business, right? And
I think you call that the serialpreneur.
Yes, exactly. And guilty, 100% guilty. Like there's different things. That's where the entertainment stuff came from. I started doing it many years ago. I went, hey, this is a good business. And I started rolling it out. It kept happening. But that helmet, for instance, I had several people, because of the entertainment side, go, oh, is you making the whole costume then? I said, no. This is for me. Nothing. If it sits on the shelf, I'm happy. That's just for me. So I said to that executive director, I said, what are you doing for yourself? And he said, well, you know what? I really like running, and I do a lot of this. And I said, that's awesome. Because he was putting that back into himself just for him. And you need to do that too. And it's weird because we will think, we don't have enough time. I don't have time to do this. I got so many things on my plate. I got this and this to do. You know what? When you make time for yourself, that all works out. Mm-hmm. I feel less busy, but have more work right now than ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
Yes, there's the magic in that, and that efficiency that comes with focus as an entrepreneur. Is so important. So in terms of things that are important, I'd like to find out why is the work that you do and the services you provide to entrepreneurs, why is the piece, I'm really curious around the branding piece. I think that's where my attention is going, but certainly share with us and the audience why it's so important to be, left and right brain, creative and
right,
focus, that kind of thing, and the work that you do.
This is the string that ties it all together, and I love when they're asked that to that part. Why do you do this? And this is, how do I describe it? This is inherent in my it's just me. I was born, raised by a single mom, and she just taught me to care about people. Help people, do what you can for others. It's a good thing. Respect people, trust them until, unless there's unless you find out why you can't trust them for any reason, whatever. So, give to other people, and, the whole, it all comes back around. It's good. And working together is a great thing. So, that is woven into everything they do. So the whole thing with the branding and that, and oddly enough, comes down to relationships. What can I do to help somebody else succeed and do better? If I can give something that is so it sounds weird, but when it comes to design and marketing and that, when you've gone through, all your books and education stuff, a lot of it has to do with how do you affect people's perception of things so that they feel that they want to buy, and so on and so forth. That's the cold side. But the real side that I look at and say, okay, that's true, but how do you say, how's this? I won't work with, for instance, someone who isn't passionate about what they do and really cares about other people and wants to bring that to other people. That's the way it is. I've had clients, some potentially really good clients, come in and say, hey, I want to work with you, and found out where they stand business wise and said, no, this isn't going to work. You need to have that. So everything that I do, if I can put that in and help them succeed, and then they help other people succeed, we change the world around us. And it's, it sounds like a lofty goal, but it works. And, if you look in the circles that you're around and the people that you do affect, and be real about it, because the smallest things affect people, right? We can make some huge differences. And in the midst of what we're in right now, like I said, there's a big shift happening, and or has happened, not happening. And with that focus, we've got a different world ahead of us. And I think it can be in a really, really good way. So that drives me. What can I do, again, to help influence that more and help more people do well?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love that, who you serve are entrepreneurs. Yeah. So, you're an entrepreneur serving other entrepreneurs. And so you're helping open the perceptual filters, if you will, of your clients to possibly what they don't know that's missing in their business, that once they know it, you can then help fill the gaps for them. They may not be aware of the importance of, how important their content is, for example, when they're posting on social media, or the overall branding piece. And I know myself, I'm one of them. Like, I still don't, and I'm still looking forward to your talk, because I will admit I'm still not grasping this concept of branding. And so you help entrepreneurs really understand the importance of what it is, all the multiple pieces, because it's a big piece, isn't it? Branding isn't just the colors you choose.
No, it's not so much. No, you're right. You're totally right. Yeah.
So you open that up in entrepreneurs. So then, for example, myself, I'm going to learn much more about my business and what is missing in my business, so I can connect with my audience. And then when I do a better job of connecting to my ideal audience and client, and close the gaps for them, then it moves forward. And so you're really doing, the expanding the influence of what you do for others goes beyond you. It goes beyond them, and whatever. It's a trickle. It's like the butterfly effect. It impacts the world. And we're all on the mission, as I use the word mission in a heart-centered frame, to make a positive difference in the planet.
Right.
Whether, in whatever, we're all in different space as well. So before we wrap this up, this has just been so, I just feel your energy and feel your passion and feel your desire for the work you do. So what would you say, Greg, is, one or a couple things that maybe a person who's even thinking about a business might want to consider, or someone who's, been in business a year, perhaps, with what's happening with COVID, things have given them, all of us are feeling it. So for those new entrepreneurs, and for anyone really who's an entrepreneur, what would you suggest to do? If they could do one thing or two things today or this week, what would it be?
Awesome. I definitely two things off the top of my head. One, don't let your fears hold you back. It's being an entrepreneur is scary. Being in business for yourself is scary. There's no question. And taking those steps each time there's a shift or change can be you get apprehensive. I spent a long time. So I mentioned my company starting 26 years ago, but it was only in the past 7-8 years that I've gone full time, and I spent probably a year or two before that saying, should I, shouldn't I, should I don't know, and holding myself back, plain and simple. So and taking that step, once you get there, it's not nearly as scary as you think. And the other one, and this is an important one because I think it helps you to maintain and sustain things throughout all those changes as you go forward. And that is, don't be afraid to look in the mirror and see the reflection for what it really is. And that is, we're not perfect. It's not if you make mistakes, how you handle them. It's when you make mistakes, how do you handle them? And that goes for yourself internally. It goes for clients. It goes for everything. So always see that reflection, see the flaws, and go, okay, I can work on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Every day, because we're not perfect, and that's okay.
Yeah, and I love that from an entrepreneurial perspective is we don't have anyone monitoring our results.
That's right.
We're monitoring our results. We are responsible for ourselves, and that's very much around what I talk on as well, is that autonomous piece about to be an entrepreneur. I believe anyone can be an entrepreneur, and one of the key characteristics is around taking personal responsibility. And when you said earlier that you're doing what you love and you're passionate about it, those two things kind of go hand in hand, because you have that conversation with yourself going, you know, you love doing whatever it is, and you realize like right now you're being afraid of doing it. And you know what's happening there. And one thing that's really cool is during the event, we have a couple speakers that are going to be talking specifically around this neurological alignment and being confident in what we do. I love when you said looking in the mirror and just acknowledging who we are. We're humans. And, you know, I worked with a marketing expert at the beginning of my business. And I will say it was the 18 months I worked together with someone, and it was incredible. I don't know if I would still be in business now, 12 years in, if I hadn't. So what you do is so important. And one of the things that you may relate to that she had said is, Jackie, we never know whether what we're doing in marketing is going to work until we do it and we test it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Entirely true.
Yes.
And what works for somebody else isn't necessarily going to work for you.
Yeah, we test it and then we change it. And the mindset shift was around, I said, we can actually change it. She's, oh, yeah. Okay, good.
Shift was a big word there because it is constantly. Yeah.
Yeah. And the second thing was good is good enough. But I would add to that and connect with what you had said about that. And we're always working on it to be even better.
Absolutely.
And working on ourselves first. Oh, thank you so much.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much for this chat today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So look forward to seeing you again. I know the last time I did see you in person in Calgary, it was such a treat. You bring such an amazing presence, and your online presence is fun. And I'm curious to see what is going to happen in September. Like I said earlier, everyone, stay tuned. We're going to be making a big announcement probably this week, so in the next few days, about the event in September. And Greg, for those people that I know are going to want to get in touch with you, and I want to mention before we go that they can also get more information about your upcoming book, Think Beyond the Brand. What's the best way for them to do that?
You know what? I know we talked a little bit before we came on the air here about how I love social media. I'm really good at it, but I'm horrible at communicating through it. But you know what? Absolutely. Reaching out through my LinkedIn or Facebook account. That's great. Yeah. Otherwise, email works good too.
Email. So, do you want to mention your email? Go for it.
Absolutely. Greg at theimagestop.com. That's it.
Greg at theimagestop.com.
You got it. That's
and
it.
I'll post that in the comments as well under with the video. So thank you again. Have a wonderful day. And at 2 p.m., I'll be thinking of you today. And I'll be taking a moment to tickle the creative part of me and maybe do some shopping. Who knows?
There you go.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, Jackie.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.